Also, dynamic declaration of the variables. Let us understand what is the benefit of allowing dynamic declaration. See, we know how the memory looks like. The memory will be divided into three sections and used by the program. This is the place where the program itself resides. Suppose it's a main function. The machine code will be lying here. And here, inside the stack, the memory for the variables will be created during the execution of a program. Let us see, I have a main function here. If I am declaring some variables a, b, c of type integer, suppose integer take 2 bytes, then 2 bytes for a are given inside the stack, then 2 bytes for b are given and 2 bytes for c are given. So this total block of memory, I'll just put a bar here to show that this memory belongs to main function. So this is called as activation record of main function. So it's occupying total 6 bytes of memory. Now suppose you have some conditional statements, and inside this, if you need a variable m, then instead of declaring a variable m here itself, if you declare it here, then it will occupy the memory here, just beside this one inside the stack. But instead of declaring here, if you require m only inside if statement, that is inside this block, after this if you don't need it, then instead of declaring there, better declare it here. So what happens, once it enters into this conditional statement, it will allocate the memory for m, and once the block ends, this memory is gone. And suppose here again you have one more if statement, then inside this again you need one variable, that is x, that is temporarily inside this block. Then again 2 bytes of memories, same memory is allocated and utilized for another variable x, and that x will be there in the memory as long as this if is executing. So that is the benefit. The activation record of this main function will be growing and shrinking as you go on dynamically declare the variables and they go out of the scope. Once this block ends, this m is gone from the memory. So the small size memory can be used again and again by different variables. Whereas in C language, all the variables must be declared only in the beginning, and whether you are using them throughout the program or not, it doesn't matter. So some of the variables may not be useful throughout the program, but they will occupy the memory space. So that was the drawback of C programming. But in C++, you can declare wherever you require. Now one interesting thing I'll show you. See, sometimes we need some variable, let us say k, and to this we will assign some expression, the result, and we have the condition based on this k is less than something, let us say a. Suppose we have to write on the statement like this. Now this k is only useful for if, but I should declare it before and assign some result of an expression. So I have to declare it outside. Once I declare outside, it is there throughout the main function. I want this scope of this variable also limited to this block. I want this to be removed from the memory once this if ends. So how I can do is, I can write the same thing like this. Integer k assign some expression, then k less than a. Oh, I can declare the variable here also inside the block. This is the new feature allowed in C++, that is in C++ 17. Version 17, this is allowed. Even inside the conditional statement, you can have declaration, and followed by that you can have the condition. So the life of this k variable will be only limited to this if block. Once the block ends, this will be removed from the memory. If suppose it is declared here, then it will go away once the block ends. Now one more thing that is found very common in C++ programs is that inside the for loop, if we require a counter, then we declare the counter here itself, I less than some 10, I plus plus. We write declaration of this I here only, and this I will remain in the memory throughout this for. Once you come out of the for and you try to display this I, it is undefined variable. So this is the common thing found. So it is preferred to better utilize the memory. So you can write down efficient piece of code using C++. So you can efficiently utilize the memory in C++ with the help of dynamic declaration.